Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 7 p.m. and time to begin our Planning Commission meeting for this month. We will begin by having an invocation by Commissioner Baker and a flag salute by Commissioner Davis. Please stand.
Let's pray. Lord, we ask your guidance and wisdom as we go about doing the business for the people in the city of Yukon. May we be guided by your words and deeds. Lord, protect our soldiers and sailors and first responders in the field, and ask that you protect them and return them safely home. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Address flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll, please, Kathy.
Chairman Taylor?
Here.
Commissioner Davis?
Here.
Commissioner Hatley?
Here.
Commissioner Baker?
Here.
Commissioner Gerba?
Here.
Item 1 is the approval of the minutes of the October 9th meeting, 2017. Do we have any corrections or additions, or do I have a motion to accept?
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the minutes as posted.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gerba?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Hatley?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Chairman Taylor?
Yes. Item 2 is the visitors section. If there's anyone here that would like to address the commission about a non-agenda item, now would be the time to do so. Seeing none, we will proceed. Item 3 is to hear a request by Jim Craig, owner of Boulder Designs, for a conditional use permit to provide storage, frontage, and sign advertising at his property, which is zoned A, agricultural, located at 1705 West Highway 66, Yukon, Oklahoma. Is Mr. Craig here? Please come forward, state your name.
Jim Craig.
And is this address also your home address?
The home address is 1701 West Highway 66.
1701. It's in the same complex.
Same complex, commonly known as the Clements Place, is what a lot of people refer it to.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell us about your business and what you would like for us to do.
Okay. Our business is Boulder Designs by Craig Custom Stone. We manufacture and create custom landscape boulders, which involve for residential and commercial use purposes. These boulders are not actual boulders, but they're made out of concrete with some special additives that we manufacture there on site. So we have a cement mixer that we utilize, and then while the cement is between that wet and hard spot, we go through and we place custom stamps into that concrete. And then we have our own tricks of the trade that we utilize in order to make them look like a landscape boulder. We've done several of these in the past, and right now we're requesting a conditional use permit in order to establish a storefront footage so that we can have a showroom display many of our items, as well as have displays out front and place signage on the 1705 location that advertise Boulder Designs by Craig Custom Stone.
I was reading through some of the requirements. Have you had a chance to look them over, that if we were to pass this?
Yes, sir, I have. So there were numerous items, and I'd like to thank Mr. Hort and Ms. Johnson for their assistance in this matter in terms of items that needed to be addressed. I believe most of the items that they have requested have been taken care of, with the exception of a screen on a chain fence in order to block visibility from Route 66 in terms of our build location. That screen would be approximately 10 to 12 feet, so very minimal in terms of the screening in order to block the entire process of our build location. Other than that, all other items have been addressed, I believe.
Okay, so you understand about not storing a lot of the waste material on your property and
Yes, sir. So our waste material is essentially excess concrete, is essentially what it is. At this current time, we store the excess concrete behind the 1709 location, which is kind of an old goat pen that we have back there that's out of sight, out of view from the public at this point in time. At certain periods of time, we're willing to bring in a bobcat, remove that waste material, and have it appropriately disposed of.
Okay, commissioners, anybody have questions for this gentleman?
What is that? Does anything have to be done about the drive, Mitchell? About anything there with how it looks now? Is it fine just the way it is? Or?
Basically, that's what he's wanting to do is leave it as it is.
And it's a gravel driveway at this point.
Yeah.
We've brought in some additional gravel right now. I was in an accident, so I haven't had a chance to spread that gravel. I was involved in a boulder accident.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I haven't had the opportunity.
Not laughing about it. You're laughing at yourself.
We can laugh now because I'm here.
Okay.
It wasn't too funny about
I
2
know.
weeks ago. Yeah. But we're looking to get that spread out. We brought in 12 tons of gravel already to kind of spread out and to maintain the overall look of the initial frontage.
Well, I've been there for 14 years, and I appreciate the improvements you've made to the property. It has not looked that good since I've lived there, and I think everybody in the area appreciates the improvements you've already made.
Thank you, Mr. Baker.
I got a question. Basically, it looks like the build location is going to be on the west side.
Yes, sir.
From what I got here. So, is there? I want to find out anticipated maybe issues down the road. Let's say noise, dust, equipment movement, anything like that.
Okay. The only equipment that we necessarily need at this point is a cement mixer.
Mm-hmm.
It runs on kind of a riding lawnmower motor.
So it's relatively small. And not,
Relatively
large pieces of
small.
equipment.
No large pieces of equipment. No bobcats, no track hose, nothing along those lines. Whenever we do move the larger size boulders, it involves a trailer with a winch that we utilize and lifting mechanisms that we can then pull those boulders out from the back location. In terms of dust and items along those lines, in terms of the manufacturer, it's basically we use Portland cement, so you will have Portland cement dust, but that goes away fairly quickly. We use a minimal amount of Portland cement in ratio to the overall boulder. The majority of the boulder is composed of sand. And we do have sand that we have moved to the back in terms of that build location. So it is also out of sight from the public view. So
I'm assuming you would only work during business hours too, correct?
only during business hours, yes. We're very cognizant of the neighborhood across the street. My mom and dad live across there, so I need to make sure Mama's happy. So
always good.
it's only during daytime hours that
Okay.
that we would perform. We might drift into the 6, 7 o'clock at night, but we're not going to be firing up a cement mixer at 10 o'clock at night or anything like that. It would be during normal business hours that we would conduct our business.
So where's that parking lot going to be? Just to the west there? Of the drive?
The parking lot would just essentially be the front.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's kind of just an open pull-in, so people pull in sideways, front ways, back ways, any way they get in there.
All right.
Is there plans for expansion?
Currently, at this time, no plans for expansion. Obviously, as a small business owner, expansion is always a goal, as a dream whenever you start out. But at this point in time, there's no plans for expansion.
Am I correct? If they expand, they're going to require zoning and
That-
building permits?
That is correct. What we're addressing basically is his operation now and what he submitted.
Okay.
So if he increases it to, a concrete ready-mix truck and stuff like that, then that's a totally different use.
What is that zoning? C3?
Well, it depends on what he does, depends on the buildings and so forth. So, it kind of depends. Sorry,
Yes.
depends on how big we get,
How big is the dream, right?
Yeah, if I planned on expanding, then I would obviously want to build a brand-new building and
Yeah.
things like that. That would have to come before you guys as well. So at this point, with our current volume and current orders that we fulfill, we're more than perfect with the current size that we have at this point in time.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions, or is someone ready to read the draft motion?
I do have one more. It's about the signage for the building. I don't see anything written in here about the what we're gonna follow for the signs. I know we have pictures of what we're gonna be, but I don't have anything that shows regulations of his signage for his front.
Basically, it's in his submittal stuff. What we're basically doing is taking his exhibits. That's what's gonna be regulating his, business. So, basically, what we're gonna be looking for is this Exhibit A. It talks about the size of the sign.
Okay.
That's what we're looking at. So, as long as he stays within the photos and recommendations that are given for the conditional use permit, we'll follow that real close. If it gets outside those boundaries, then of course it would come back to the planning commission for review. So, we tried to be very specific on the information that he gave us, so we'd know exactly what we were doing and going forward what was expected.
Alright.
Whatever recommendations you may add to it.
Okay. Oh, we just spent an hour talking about signs. in
Yeah.
Complete detail, and we didn't have any in here, so it's
Yeah.
in there. All right.
Okay, any other questions? Someone care to read the draft motion?
I'll take it.
Okay.
In the case of the application for a conditional use permit submitted by Craig Custom Stone LLC, we have read the staff report and received testimony at the public hearing. We find ourselves in agreement with staff findings, including all attachments cited in the staff report. I move that this item be recommended for approval to the city council with the following conditions. 1, this conditional use permit is granted solely to Jim Craig of Craig Custom Stone LLC in order to establish a commercial custom landscape boulder/business signage operation, including is approved for the associated signage for this business as depicted in the submitted application and made a part of this approval. It is acknowledged that the approval covers other manufactured items as listed in the submitted information. This approval is non-transferable. 2, casting of the boulders and material storage shall be screened from view of Highway 66 by site-proof screening, which shall be approved by the Community Development Director prior to installation. 3, all waste material and byproducts of the manufacturing process shall be stored out of sight and disposed of in a timely manner to prevent large unsightly stockpiles on site. 4, manufacturing processes which occur outside shall be limited to daylight hours. 5, site inspections shall be completed as needed and at a minimum of once a year prior to the renewal of the conditional use permit. And finally, a designated parking area shall be provided and maintained for the life of the use.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Anyone in the audience have anything they want to talk about? Call the roll, please.
Chairman Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Hatley?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Gerber?
Yes.
Good luck.
Gabriel. Brent.
Very good. Thank you,
Good
guys. I
luck.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Item 4, to hear a request by Jones Energy LLC for a conditional use permit for the proposed drilling of 2 oil and gas wells from a single pad within the city limits. Well Glacier 11-14-12-6, 1HX, and Glacier 11-14-12-6, 2HX. And it's in the northwest quarter of Section 11, Township 12 North, Range 6 West of the Canadian County, Oklahoma, the drilling pad. The actual address of this, do we have it, is it on Foreman Road also?
Yes, the applicant's here, so yes.
Come up, so, I need the exact address, please.
I
Say
do
your
not-
name and,
Zachary Allman with Jones Energy LLC.
okay,
The exact address is actually not on the proposal.
Yeah.
And I've
we
got
don't
to
want you
have
doing it next door to me.
It's on, yes, sir, it's on Foreman Road.
Okay.
Um,
So Foreman
do not
Road
have-
address is
yes, sir.
15760 Foreman Road.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, tell us about this.
Yes, sir. We're asking the request to build a 3.67 acre drilling pad to drill 2 oil and gas horizontal wells from the northwest quarter of Section 11, 12 North, 6 West. We've filed everything required of us at the Oklahoma Corporation Commission. We've gone through the hearing process there. Everything has been admitted by the judges. We have our permits filed. We're waiting on approval. We don't see any hiccups in our way to getting approval of that. That's just the administrative process. We're going to be building a road to this site. It will not house the production equipment. That is item number 5. This is in an agricultural field. And we're working with the landowner so he can have an irrigation pivot that will go over the wellheads and the fencing around the location. So we're actually going to have an off-site pad just to the east, still on his property, that will house the production equipment, but we can talk about that on item number 5. We've reviewed the draft motion, the recommendation of the commissioners, and we are in agreement with everything there. It's very standard, and Jones Energy has been drilling in this area. We want to be good neighbors and work with you guys to the best of our abilities, and we think we will be good neighbors, and so we're asking permission to begin building this location as soon as we're hopefully granted a permit.
Commissioners, anybody have anything? Now, you're the same company we just did on
Yes, sir. It's like a month
Richland
ago.
Road?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have one question. How close is it to that residence that's right there?
It's quite a ways. I don't remember the footage. There's actually a sheet in here that actually shows the footage from structures. Let me see.
It's about, I believe, if the structure you're referring to is
The actual
one-
residence, yeah.
the actual residence, I believe it's around 1,400, 1,500 feet away. We're, the location of the wellhead is 1,320 feet away from the west line of section 11.
This will be a 24-hour day operation also?
Yes, sir. So I anticipate with the 2 wells, the drilling and the completion, I anticipate if everything goes according to plan, it'll probably be a 2-month process.
Okay. So that's 2 months of the constant noise,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay. My uncle is right there at Richland 15, so I know how noisy that was.
Any other questions for this gentleman on item 4?
What path are the trucks going to take to the site? Are they going to come down Cemetery to Foreman, or?
No, Mr. Chairman, basically if you look at the conditional use permit, we're doing the same thing as we did last time. Cimarron to 66, and then 66 north on Richland and back to the well site. So all the heavy traffic will follow that route. There is actually a drawing that actually shows the route in your packet. So basically that's where we're keeping the heavy traffic located on.
I thought it said should commit to that. Is that a requirement?
That is a requirement that we're asking for you to include in the conditional use permit. And basically, if you remember right, we included that we're going to watch for damages. So any damage that caused to 66 or Richland or back into this site would be part of that motion. So. On 3 of the 3 is the motions of what's recommended plus what the board wishes to add to those comments.
So also on Foreman, it needs to be looked after.
Yes, we'll watch any damages that would be caused to that from the heavy truck traffic while they're doing the production of the well, or the drilling of the well, I guess is a better way of saying it, not the production.
Okay. Anybody have a question?
I've got one question concerning the water use. It's coming from a pond in the southwest corner. I was just kind of curious that's basically the water usage is just during drilling.
And completion. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So drilling and completion, we'll use it, but after that, there won't be a continuous, 2 years down the road, we're not going to be continuously using that water.
Got it. So basically, that's just is it normally being used to produce the cement that you use to?
It's in the completion process. One, for the drilling, it's to lubricate the drilling mud, and we'll usually use a water-based mud for a portion of the vertical section. And then for the completion process, the fracturing stimulation, you're pumping thousands of barrels of water down into the formation to stimulate the formation, and then you flow that back, and then we dispose of that through OCC rules.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody have any questions? If no other questions, I'll accept the draft motion.
Just public hearing.
Oh, well, we need to have a motion before we have a hearing. So I gotta have either a yay or a nay, and
I'll
then
read
I'll
it.
ask for comments,
I'll read it.
okay?
In the case of the application for a conditional use permit submitted by Jones Energy, Inc., we have read the staff report and received testimony at the public hearing. We find ourselves in agreement with staff findings, including all attachments cited in the staff reports. I move that this item be recommended for approval to the City Council with the following conditions. 1, the contract shall utilize a water truck to keep blowing dust to a minimum. 2, a road will be constructed to allow traffic ingress and egress at Richland Road. 3, signs will be posted to direct all oil field related traffic back to the south on Richland Road to go west on Highway 66 to Cimarron Road and south to I-40. 4, the applicant will maintain a stormwater pollution prevention plan if directed by the city engineer. 5, signage and flagging as needed on Highway 66 for ingress and egress onto Richland Road for all oilfield heavy equipment. 6, any damages caused to Highway 66 and Richland Road and Foreman Road. Are we adding Foreman Road? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I think you
Yes.
should.
I think we should as well. By heavy oilfield equipment will need to be repaired to city and state standards. And 7, applicant will be responsible for site security to prevent public access. Is that fine to add?
Yes, sir.
You said it was fine before, but to number 6, we added Foreman Roads. You're good.
Yes, sir, we're in agreement.
I know we have a motion. I have one question. Is the egress going to be off of Richland Road?
No, sir, it'll be off Foreman Road. I
That's-
believe that's a typo.
So we
I
need,
shall reread 5.
well, this is item 2.
Is it 2?
We'll be building a leased road off of Foreman Road.
Oh,
to
okay.
allow
So I'll
egress
reread
and
2
egress.
and then reread 5.
Right.
Apparently. All right. Amending 2, Judge. A road will be constructed to allow traffic ingress and egress at Foreman Road. And then amending 5, signage and flagging as needed on Highway 66 for ingress and egress onto Foreman Road for all oil field heavy equipment.
Is that a satisfactory, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, or anyone in the audience have any questions or anything they'd like to say? Now would be the time. Anything else from the commissioners? Call the roll, please.
Chairman Taylor,
Yes?
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Hatley,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Gerba.
Yes.
Okay, item 5 is to hear a request by Jones Energy LLC to build a .92 acre tank battery pad located within the city limits, located within Yukon city limits in the east half of the northwest quarter of Section 11, Township 12 North, Range 6 West, Canadian County, Oklahoma, the tank battery pad. The tank battery pad will house the production equipment after the drilling of the 2 wells from the drilling pad. The address is 15760 Foreman Road. This is the completion of what this gentleman brought about a while ago.
I thought
We
they
have-
said a different, was this not a different address? 15550 Foreman Road?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I copied it right off there. Maybe I didn't. It's on the permit? Well, I guess, okay. 155550 Foreman Road. 15550 Foreman Road. Okay, now, any further corrections, questions for this gentleman on this? Well, would someone care to go ahead and read the draft motion on this one?
In the case of the application for conditional use permit to construct a tank battery submitted by Jones Energy, Inc., we have read the staff report and received testimony at the public hearing. We find ourselves in agreement with staff findings, including all attachments cited in staff reports. I move that this item be recommended for approval to City Council with the following conditions. The contractor shall utilize a water truck to keep blowing dust to a minimum. A drive shall be constructed to allow traffic ingress and egress at Foreman Road. Signs will be posted to direct all oil field related traffic back to the east on Foreman Road to go south on Richland Road, west on Highway 66 to Cimarron, and south to I-40. The applicant will maintain a stormwater pollution prevention plan if directed by the city engineer. Signage and flagging as needed for ingress and egress onto Foreman Road and Richland Road for all oil field heavy equipment. Any damages along the travel routes, including Foreman Road and Richland Road, by heavy oil field equipment will need to be repaired to city and state standards. Applicant will be responsible for site security to prevent public access.
I'll second.
Have a motion and second. Is there further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Chairman Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Hatley?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Gerba?
Yes.
Item 6, thank you, sir.
Thank you,
for being here.
Commissioners.
Item 6 is to hear a request by Allen Engineering Services for consideration of a deviation to the plan unit development designated design statement for the residents at Yukon Hills. Lot 1, Block 1 residents at Yukon Hills, in addition to the City of Yukon, Canadian County, according to the recorded plat thereof. Someone here on that?
Good evening. My name is Charles Allen with Allen Engineering. We're back again.
Could you give us an address, please?
Sure, 1601 Southwest 89th Street, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Thank you.
This is kind of a follow-up, I guess, of our previous deviation. As we were finishing up the project, we were doing a PUD compliance and reading through, obviously, our PUD and the deviation that we'd submitted last year, which included relocating or changing the loop drive to 2 cul-de-sacs that we have. Through that design and permitting, the dumpster pad got moved around a little bit, and it looks like we didn't have it, or we've got it closer than 50 feet that's called for in the original PUD. We didn't address it at the time last year, just simply kind of an oversight on our part. So we're back, dumpster pads where it was permitted. Now we're here to kind of dot the i's, cross the t's, so to speak.
So how close will that be to the residents to the north there?
It's 24 feet from property line.
It'll be 24 feet instead of 50 feet.
Correct.
You have to maintain the fence, correct?
Yes.
Are you going to have a 6-foot fence, 8-foot fence?
We have a
or-
6-foot fence right now. And we've proposed, since we are closer than the 50 feet, to add some landscaping. I think we've got 3 evergreen trees to try and hide it a little bit. And then also restricting the pickup time from the same as our delivery time from 7 to 7. I don't know that, moving it 26 feet is going to make it less offensive, to be honest. I mean, most of the offenses typically at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when they come in and start banging the dumpsters around, which is quite loud. I mean, I wouldn't want it either. That's why we're trying to restrict that from.
So you won't be using Yukon Waste Management?
I'm not sure who they're contracting with.
Because they don't start that early. Have you considered using an 8-foot fence back there on that part of the operation?
Well, we're actually, I mean, I don't know that 8 foot's gonna make a difference either. We've
Can't
got
see
high-
over it very well unless you're one of the thunder.
Well, we're up high anyways, but, I mean, adding 2 feet to the fence that's probably 5 to 6 feet below us anyways at this point. So, does that make sense? You're talking about the fence along the property line?
Correct. I'm trying to sight screen the dumpsters and catch any blowing around waste, paper, what
Right,
have you back
right.
there. If they don't keep the lids covered, paper's gonna, waste paper,
Right,
trash and so forth be blowing out.
right. Most of the waste, I mean, is bagged up when it gets there, I believe. So,
Where will the additional trees go? I'm looking at the dumpster
well, they're right by the dumpster, actually.
to the north.
There's a little bit of island that we can put to the north. Yeah, to the north and probably more to the northwest. It's kind of angled in there. Probably 2 on the back and 1 on the side is what we were.
Mr. Baker, is that on Exhibit B you're looking at? Or-
I'm just looking at the total plot plan now. I just wonder if they went right here. They're not shown, but
They're not shown on there right now, but there would be 1 kind of on the right side. It's kind of angled off to the northeast. And then 2 would be on the back to the northwest there.
And Mitchell, the city doesn't have a problem with this.
No, sir.
No, I'd still like to know where the dumpsters are gonna be. I could never find them on
They're on
any
this
exhibit.
L1.1. There's next to the last page in the exhibits.
This is the neighborhood. All right, thanks.
Any questions, anybody? But,
Not yet.
just a moment, just a moment. Any council, commissioners have questions for this gentleman?
no, I'm assuming this is a normal commercial dumpster that's got, it has an enclosure around the dumpster.
Correct.
Then you'll have trees and then you'll have the fence. Am I reading that right?
Yes, there's an enclosure and then we'll have the trees and then,
The 6-foot fence.
well, yeah, it's 24 feet away. I think
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am, I'll take your question now. We haven't made a motion yet or anything, but go ahead. Say your name and address, please.
Katie Larson. I live at 122 East Cherry Avenue.
Okay?
Can you just tell us briefly, like, is it northwest corner, northeast corner, or is he trying to put stuff on both?
You live on Cherry?
It's gonna be on the north, east corner, I believe.
Got one right here. Yeah, the ladies, I knew that's what I wanted to. Okay, so inside the cul-de-sac. So here's
See,
Cherry,
they said they're not on
and
it.
this is
I guess they're gonna be
Basswood.
up here. And then,
So it's on the back side. And where's the other one? I'm sorry. That's it? Okay.
mhm.
Here. Cherry Avenue and Bass.
Okay, that answer your questions?
Yeah,
I'm
here.
Yeah,
You
to
live right behind
the east at least, if not more.
Thank you.
All right, you bet. Now, I'll accept the draft motion. Someone care to read it?
Y'all take it.
Okay.
In the case of the application for a PUD amendment submitted by Allen Engineering Services Incorporated on behalf of Overland Properties Group, we have read the staff report and received testimony at the public hearing. We find ourselves in agreement with all plans and attachments cited in the staff report dated November 13th, 2017. I move that this item be recommended for approval to the City Council.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
One thing, what's your expected opening date?
It's already open.
It was November 1st.
Yeah.
I'm not really involved in all the final part, more the site design. Mitchell may be able to answer that as far as them
Remember
getting
it was the
a
first,
certificate of
that's
occupancy.
It's not actually open yet. Last time I knew, they had some issues they were working through. So I think we're almost through every issue that we had.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, Kathy.
Chairman Taylor?
Yes. Ma'am, you had an opportunity to come up and ask a question. I'll take your question. We haven't taken all the road yet. Please come up, say your name and address.
It's Kim Smith, 201 East Cherry Avenue. I was wondering about the water that's coming down from the actual parking or drive or whatever that is.
Our engineer may be able to answer that for you over
Well-
here. I mean, not engineer, but
The planner, actually, the city engineer's been out there several times. The water that we had a lot of issues with was before the ground was sodded. But I know we're supposed to meet out there one more time to look at and make sure it meets the design requirements that the city engineer approved.
It's still water coming down every day.
Okay.
That it
I know
rains.
they're supposed to be power washing the streets. Are they power washing the streets?
No.
Then I'll follow up on that. Overwatering, okay. Okay, we'll check on that too as well. Okay.
But the detention pond is still where it, that hasn't been moved, right?
That has not, our engineer here, Charles Allen, can discuss that. I know there was some work that had to be done on a couple of them, and I think it's been done or will be done pretty quick.
thank you, ma'am. Kathy, continue with a roll call, please.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Hatley?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Gerba?
Yes.
Thank you, folks, for your input and questions. Item 7 is to hear a request by Brent and Jan Fairchild for a reverse lot split located at 119 North 9th and 121 North 9th, Yukon, Oklahoma. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Brent Fairchild. This is my wife, Jeanette. And we
Your address, current address?
is 11308 Southwest 5th, I believe. It's an apartment. I'm not used to living in an apartment. We just sold our house here in town, moved into the apartment to build a home on this property. So I'm not sure on the address.
So you purchased both properties, or
Correct.
was there two houses there?
There is, we purchased 121, which is the corner lot. Then there was 119 that had an old home on it. The home was dilapidated, really bad for the neighborhood. We had an opportunity to buy that one, so we bought that one as well. And we've since, and there is a correction in this paperwork that I noticed. It shows in here that there's a existing single-family residence. That home was removed back in December.
Okay.
Yes.
That, it was removed. The aerials that were used and provided shows it on there, and that's why it was accidentally put on the review.
Yeah, I just didn't want there to be any question there on that. So-
And you're requesting this just to be made into one lot?
Correct.
You gonna put your house in the middle of it, or?
We're gonna put it more towards the north end, but yeah, it'll probably be on both lots, somewhere in the center there.
Questions, commissioners? We've done this quite often. If no questions, if someone would read the draft motion.
In the case of the application for the reverse lot split, combining portions of lots 1 through 4 as described in this report, block 14 of the Yukon edition, submitted by Brent and Jeanette Fairchild, we have read the staff report and received testimony at the public hearing. We find ourselves in agreement with the staff findings cited in the staff report. I move that this item be approved.
Are you sure it's called the Yukon edition?
If I remember right, that is correct. Let me look. Yukon Original Town.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
needs to be in there. The original township.
Yukon Original Town, yeah.
Yeah.
Addition.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Gerba,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Chairman Taylor.
Yes. You have your,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
you bet. Okay, we've had one of our more productive meetings, I think. Any new business?
No news business tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any open discussion? Anybody have anything they want to say?
Nothing other than Chill Your Cheeks is coming up this weekend. Want to chill your cheeks and run in the dark? Come on out.
I believe the Christmas lights come on Saturday night, correct? 18th.
Normally it's the same time, correct?
So I know everybody in town will eventually get out and drive through them. City staff has been working hard since August, putting these lights up, and it's always a beautiful sight, what they do there in the park. Anything else? Then this meeting is adjourned until December the 11th.